So right now, all the offerings that we've tested in the last 6 to 8 months, so far thumbs up on most of them.
Some things we've done in the community. We offer each PTO as a fundraising or free registration to LTYA. This year, the Hills of Lakeway Cherry Classic benefited us to the tune of $8,700. If that happens again, I hope you guys play and contribute to that. Had a booth at the Lakeway Regional Medical Facility Fright Fest. We're a Lake Travis Chamber member and had a booth at their Spring Fest. Leadership Lake Travis Nonprofit Day, I'm not sure what that is.
So Lake Travis Chamber hosts a Leadership Lake Travis event, and this year they had a nonprofit day. They had various nonprofits in to speak. That's where I learned that this room existed. I got to come in and speak to probably about 40 or 50 area business owners and chamber members about LTYA and our history and what we're all about. And actually one of the folks that were there stood up and is a soccer coach with you, John, right? Jewel?
Jewel? Oh, Jewel, yes.
Yeah, so Jewel stood up and is helping us coach soccer.
Like Coach Carter said, each varsity sport has an LTYA night. We participate in that. The Spirit of Football visit, that was that soccer ball, right?
It's a soccer ball that toured around the world. It made a stop in Austin, and we were connected to it, and it was here at one of the high school games, and we brought it out to LTYA, and a bunch of the kids got to be part of that, which is really cool. There's some cool outtakes on that, especially from the high school game.
The baseball and parent boards Take 10 train.
That's a CPR program. That's a compression-only CPR program that Vic Medical offers. So I brought them in first to the baseball board. I'm a baseball guy, so I test everything out on the baseball guys first. And if they don't give me a hard time about it, then because they'll tell me what they really think. And so then we brought it to the parent board, and yeah, we had all the folks at Craigos down on their knees doing the compressions and to the song "Staying Alive." That's what
And the LTYA Dick's Sporting Good, that's a fundraiser for us. They send us coupons and help us out with sports equipment.
So just a quick reminder, the online coupons are there all year long, except the ones that are there now expire May 31st till we renew our deal with Dick's. Hopefully that will be there. So if you need something, they're up there all the time. Go to the website, go to sponsor offers. Under the team coupons, it's $10 off 50 bucks. There's 10 or 20% off everything you need. And one note is, so our shopping day at Dick's Sporting Goods this year, I think we had over 400 people turn in coupons, right? That puts us typically in one of the top 5 folks countrywide. So, and it's a great deal. You show up that day, you get 20% off everything.
And it works on your phone.
All right, some challenges for next year. Player growth. We're growing like crazy. And with that, unfortunately, our volunteerism hasn't increased with the number of kids we have. So we need more help. We need you guys to volunteer. We need you guys to coach. We need you guys to serve on the sport boards and parent board too.
You know, like in basketball, as an example, we prefer to have 8 kids on a team in basketball. We plan for 8 kids on a team in basketball. It's cheaper for us to put 10 kids on a team, right? It's less gym space, it's less referees, it's less teams. We want 8 kids on a team, all right? In order to do that, we need more coaches. There were 10 kids on teams in this year and in many age groups, not because we wanted to, not because we wanted to save the money, it's because we couldn't get coaches. So one of our challenges, it's going to be up to us to make it more comfortable for folks to step up and coach and give them the tools so that they're comfortable coaching, right? But that's clearly a big challenge that we have. Last year was the first year I can remember in any sport We turned kids away, not because we didn't have space, because we didn't have coaches.
And as we talked about, field space, limitations, the conditions of the soccer fields due to the drought and kind of overuse. When you own your own fields, there's always going to be unpredictable stuff. Scott, you want to tell them the story about the well?
Yeah, so it's New Year's Eve, it's 4:30 in the afternoon, and I still have my phone on. That's mistake number one, right? And Kirk Nessman, who's our field guy, he still had his phone on. That was his mistake number one. Anyway, long story short, he calls at 4:30 in the afternoon on New Year's Eve and says, look, I think the pump's out in the well, and the only way to tell is we have to pull the pump. So we started that process at 4:30 in the afternoon on New Year's Eve, and that was because of the holiday. It took several days to get there, right? But there's no sport board out there that's budgeting for the expense to pull and replace the well pump, right? We just went through, we replaced 9 lights at the Field of Dreams. To do that, we have to get an electrician, we have to rent a crane, we have to put a guy up in a bucket, right? And I've asked, isn't there a PM program we can get on or do this once a year? And he said, actually, the cheapest way to do it is exactly the way you're doing it, right? Which is wait until there's a certain number of lights out, and typically the right lights have to be out. So unfortunately for softball, they had 2 infield lights out, and that was the driving force. But again, we're not budgeting the $1,500 to $2,000 to replace those lights, and those are realistic expenses that we have because we own the fields, right? We own them, and I've seen some of the responses that we get on the surveys. I honestly don't know how many people actually comprehend or know that we own the fields. Bee Cave doesn't help us at all, right? We're here tonight because the Bee Cave community room, we could have that as long as I wrote them a check for $200 to use the community room, right? So LTYSD is nice enough to give us, this room for tonight. But it's great that we have our own fields, but it's a challenge when we get those unpredictable expenses.
So I'm going to buzz through these last few things pretty quick. Susanna's ready to announce the election results. Our initiatives for next year: continued fiscal responsibility. Obviously, the new sports complex, as you heard about earlier. We want to address the field conditions in the interim.
And it's likely that Steve and I walked the fields the other day, so we'll likely be coming to the board this week. We'd like to fence those soccer fields off for the next 90 days. As soon as soccer's over, we'd like to put a temporary fence up, which means nobody on the field for the next 90 days as we invest in growing grass on them for that 90-day period.
We want to improve the delivery of our sports, and that means educating our coaches and volunteers, and our customer service as a volunteer organization.
I mean, I tell everybody, right, and they'll know, and I did this when I was a volunteer. I said, just because you're a volunteer isn't an excuse to do your role poorly, right? But I will tell you, we have some really, really good volunteers, and we have some not so good volunteers. That's the reality of it, right? And so, but we're totally dependent, right? My role is to support the sports who actually deliver the sport, right? So the sports are the ones that are delivering the sports. The office is there to help, but we need to get more people engaged, right? I see the soccer guys kind of collected back there, right? You guys, these soccer guys that are back there, there's 4 of them that show up at every board meeting that deliver the sport for 800 kids, right? Now they have people that don't show up at the board meetings, thankfully, but 800 kids, and they deliver it for 4 guys deliver that for 800 kids.
We need to increase parent involvement. Improve coaching tools, make it easier for folks to want to coach. continue to enhance our community-centric feel. We're one organization, not a collection of individuals. Continue our quest with Positive Coaching Alliance so the kids can have the best experience on the field that we can give them. And with that, conclude the report and ask if you guys have any questions for me or any of the other board members.
Going back, Scott, does our financial participation in the new complex depend upon the rezoning and selling of the current Field of Dreams?
Possibly and possibly not, right? We're obviously gonna go through a capital campaign, right? And I think it's the results of the Lakeway bond, the county bond, our capital campaign, and Glenn can probably and share some more.
The rezoning is going to be up to the individual that makes the purchase. You will see the Field of Dreams go back up for sale here very shortly. Right now, I truly think it very well could come down to a legal battle with the city of BK, 100%. And I believe that the only other way it can be done is if we go neighborhood service, which is what everything else is around us. So if we file for neighborhood service of the people that come to purchase us, it will end up being a strip center, which it could be. And the people on the hill aren't gonna be any happier with the strip center than they are nice condominiums. So I think eventually this really could come down to a legal battle, yes.
There's no plan to keep Field of Dreams.
We will not keep Field of Dreams. Field of Dreams, we will sell Field of Dreams.
Question, if I could ask, what sport is lacking in volunteers the most?
The most.
Basketball.
Great, thanks.
Amy?
Are you developing relationships with the HCI guys for Hill Country Indoor? They're gonna have quite a few indoor facilities plus baseball field.
Yeah, so I spent an hour and a half with Jeff Kent this morning and chatting with him, and so we're familiar with what they're doing, and we've met with them several times. I think they're trying to figure out what they're going to be when they grow up, right? In terms of exactly what are they going to be? Do they want to rent space to us? Do they want to compete? By offering leagues, etc.
Well, that's the beauty of where they are right now is if you get it on ground floor, there's a lot of opportunity right now because they are open to ideas this moment.
Yeah, so without belaboring it, I kind of have some insight into what they're doing, and they have some outside help developing that strategy. And so I think that outside direction will ultimately, determine what direction they're going to go.
And we also know they're trying to make money. So they're all about making money. We're all about delivering sports. At least, if you go over there and you want a private lesson, it's going to be half of what it costs you to play a whole season for us. So they're there to make money, there's nothing wrong with having a business that way, but we're a nonprofit to deliver to as many of the youth in the area as we possibly can at the least amount we possibly can with good facilities.
I told them that I would take, from November through February, I would take every available hour of gym space if they'll give it to me.
At the right price.
Any other questions? All right, if there's no other questions, I'm going to announce the results of the election. The 4 people who are elected are Jenny Evans, Corey Hale, Melissa Nelson, and Jerry Rios. So congratulations. Thank you all for coming out. Unless there's any further questions, I'm going to adjourn the meeting.